Our Mark Soliday,
my former work husband.
We've done
Right.
like
so
a little
many
reunion
hugs.
of shifts because you guys don't normally see each other.
Well, Mark and I mean, we worked together for what, 11 years on the morning show, and we always used to say we hug once a year. We do a Christmas hug, but our Christmas hug came earlier because there's been so many hugs exchanged this week in our newsroom, and that's one thing about a newsroom family. I saw Jim Wertz post today. There's something unique about working in a newsroom together.
And
Absolutely.
you spend more
and that
time.
early morning shift too. Yeah.
That too, but you spend more time with these people than you do your own families
Right.
when you really think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I came to first know Emily Matson, was at a relatively young Emily, you know, back in, I believe it was 2004 when she first came to Erie News.
She
now
bounced
back
in
just
jeans
12
and
News back
sweatshirts,
then.
right?
You know, and exactly.
Yeah.
She was the overnight producer, the early morning producer for me, and that's when I first got to know her. But I just want to quickly, because we want to make this light. Mitch, take the wide shot real quick. I know we only got 3 people on set, but show of hands for not just here, but in the newsroom, everybody who's watching back there, anybody who ever got out of a speeding ticket because of Emily Matson. Anybody?
She got out of a row.
I see some hands going up out there. And it's kind of how Emily Matson, it's an example of how she made people love her. I think the police loved Emily Matson. I got out of 2 speeding tickets because of Emily Matson. The first time I didn't even try. I got pulled over, the officer took my information, went back to the car, came back in a few minutes and said, "Do you know Emily Matson?" Absolutely, officer. I do know Emily Matson. He goes away for a couple of minutes, comes back, gives me a warning. That put the light bulb in my head. Second time I got pulled over, I said, "Hey, just saw Emily Matson a few minutes. Okay, go on your way, sir. Slow it down and go on your way."
It's really funny because one of the last conversations we had with Emily was about her getting out of a speeding ticket recently. We were in stitches in the newsroom. Mark, so when you first started working with her, she was an overnight producer, but she quickly became a reporter on the streets, and she covered that crime beat. And she loved that.
So good at it.
So good.
She loved the crime beat. The police eventually learned to love her as well. And I think everybody came to love Emily so quickly. That was one of the things about her that, you know, you came to her, you were drawn to her pretty quickly. And so you kind of fell in love with her almost instantly.
Well, you could trust her. She held, you know, in this business, sometimes we're told things that might not be for air, but it helps us when we're telling the story for full context. But you could trust her. You knew that she wouldn't say things that she wasn't supposed to be saying, and so they really grew to respect her. And you know, she had the best stories, and she could get the best information because she was trustworthy.
And I remember when we were working in the morning, if Emily had done a story at night, we knew we could use it because it was a good one. Because she told it right, and you know, it always ended up in the morning because you just knew she did a good job.
That right way, that it would work well the next morning. Absolutely. One of the stories that I like to tell about Emily goes way back to when we were working together. It was her. She was slightly wilder. I was a little wilder. We were all a little bit younger. Yeah, absolutely, right. And a few of us took a road trip over to Cleveland. I don't know what the purpose of it specifically was, but we wound up. It was around St. Patrick's Day, so we had wound up in an Irish bar. I think we were going to see a basketball game, basically, over in Cleveland. But we got into this Irish bar, and there was a guy playing guitar, Irish musician, and over the course of an hour or so, this guy kind of started to get attracted to Emily, and Emily was just maybe talking to him a little bit, and this guy, like all of us did, kind of fell in love with Emily instantly, right? So here we are, we come back, we have a great time in Cleveland, we come back a couple weeks later, doesn't Emily get an email from this musician who says, I've got a job in Erie this weekend, would you come and see me at the bar? You know, he was a very thick Irish accent, so it was just, and we got a great kick out of that this guy, who had only met Emily for maybe an hour or so, was like, I want to track her down to Erie, Pennsylvania.
She loves St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was some of my best memories of Emily. Away from the newsroom, basically, we're on St. Patrick's Day. We were down at Calamari's just yesterday, reminiscing about Emily and just some of the memories of her at that establishment. You know, Sullivan, some of the other great Erie Irish bars. Certainly, tremendous memories over the years. I remember John was talking about Emily and some of her quirks, you know, Bogota, Colombia. There's a story about Emily that I loved and we laughed about for years. The phrase that we use often in the newsroom when we're talking about a story and families struggling financially, we say they want to try and make ends meet. Right, that phrase that we use. But Emily, as a producer, if you remember this, she would write that in as M-E-A-T, make ends meet. And she did it more than we thought it was a typo. She did it more than once, and I said, Emily, why do you write this in make ends meet, M-E-A-T? She said, well, that's what it means, right? If you're struggling at the end of the month and you don't have enough money for meat, and exactly, that was our reaction. And it kept going for months, and every time that phrase kept coming back up on the news, we never let
And we
forget
feel
it.
so close with Emily. Emily picked on herself as much as she did.
Exactly.
She would
Yep.
laugh, and she was so willing to poke fun at herself as well. But Mark, thanks for being here.